Big guest coming up. A bloke who's played 268 times for Australia, 3 times a World Cup winner, about 1 million T20s around the world as well. A Melbourne Stars veteran. Glenn Maxwell, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Colo. Looking forward to a nice long afternoon chat about cricket.
As ever. Hey, as Flem noted before the break, Stars haven't lost this year. Back in town.
Mate, 2025 is our year. We were pretty glad to be done with 2024, and it's nice to start the new year with a couple of wins.
Maxie, should they cut it into 2 seasons? So finish one season in 2024 and then start a new one, because in 2025 we've been top of the table.
I know, we're going beautifully at the moment, Fleming. And I think it's a credit to Morsey and Stoyan for the work they've done to keep the group up and about and so motivated to obviously carry on. At 0-5, it can fall away to pieces pretty quickly, but the change room hasn't changed. Everyone's stuck together really well. We know how close we've been in so many of those first 5 games, and to sort of start to put it together and get a run of wins together is quite nice. But it'd be even better to finish off with 3 wins to finish the season.
Maxie, it's a very deep, dangerous batting lineup.
Yeah, it's an exciting batting lineup, and obviously we've got so many options where guys can bat anywhere, depending on the situation. And we've trialled a few different things and had a little bit of a turnover, obviously, with Beau Webster getting picked in the test side. Had to rejig a few things, and with Tom Curran with his injury as well. So there's been a few moving parts, but the fact that we've been able to navigate our way through the last couple of games and have a bit of success, I suppose, is credit to the group.
I saw you reshare the old Dumb and Dumber meme. So you're telling me there's a chance in reference to the Stars making finals a couple of nights ago. I mean, I guess it's mathematically possible. You have to have some hope.
Well, exactly right. And the funny thing is, I was a part of the obviously the RCB squad last year in the IPL, where there was like a 0.1% chance that they were making finals after the first 8 games. I think they were 1-7, and we won our last 6 games to get through on net run rate by like 10 runs or something like that, and it was a pretty incredible finish to the IPL home and away season. So we might be of similar chances there, but if we can, I suppose, as I said, win these last 3, hopefully get a bit of a net run rate boost at some stage, who knows where we might be.
How good is it in the local derby beating the Renegades, Maxie?
I tell you what, Flem, there's not many better feelings, especially to be out there in the middle. I suppose being there for the winning runs out in the middle in front of 40,000 screaming fans. It was an amazing atmosphere, and it's great to sort of see the Big Bash getting back to those heights of a couple of years ago, where it really, I suppose, encapsulates everything that is great about cricket. It's family, it's engaging, and everyone's sort of be a part of it, and there's that rivalry, I suppose, between the 2 teams, which is very real, and we're certainly looking forward to the return fixture at Marvel.
So you're out there at the end batting with Hilton Cartwright. I mean, obviously you can hit the ball a very long way, but he smacked a 121-metre 6. I mean, is he up there with the biggest hitters of a cricket ball you've played with or against?
Yeah, he's certainly extremely powerful, and we saw it. He did it against. It might have been the Sixers as well. He hit one over deep backward square into the 2nd or 3rd tier, which is just a ridiculous hit. It was a couple of years ago. It was so big, and it's hard to believe that someone can hit that one that far. And obviously, Beau Webster's shot off Riley Meredith has gone down in BBL folklore as well. And we're very fortunate enough to have some of the best power hitters in the game in our squad, and it's certainly hard work even contemplating trying to keep up with those guys. So I'm just trying to get the thing over the rope, and these guys are trying to get into a different tier, which is pretty incredible.
They might be able to hit big 6s, but they can't take catches like you catch, like Maxie. Is that your number one? Do you think the one you took up at the Gabba against the Heat?
It's not my number one. It's probably the one I most enjoy because of how much work I do for that particular catch. There was a couple I took in Headingley in the space of about 3 or 4 overs against England in 2015, I think it was. And I think those 2 technically and for how I had to sort of contort my body to sort of, I suppose, execute those two catches. I think they were two that sort of stuck in my mind.
I've never seen anyone robbed for man of the match more than you that day, Maxie, at Headingley in 2015. Two ridiculous catches, 90-odd batting, a couple of wickets. I'm still smarting for you. But, yeah, I mean, you're right. Describing the practice you put into those boundary catches, it's analogous to the way that you and others in the T20 game practice your reverse sweeps and your switch hitting and all the rest of it. It's the stuff that we don't necessarily see, but we can see when you nail it, when you can play the game that way, it makes it a 360-degree game at all times.
Yeah, I think the other night was a really good example. I sort of played around with the first one. There was a bit of shuffling with my feet to sort of get an idea of where he was going to try and bowl, and it was almost like a bit of a test to sort of see how he was going to react. And if he bowled it outside off stump or around that spot, I probably would have had a chance to execute the first one. But he followed me, and then I was like, okay, at least I know what he's going to do if I give myself some room. So I think reverse is still a good option. So tried to stay a bit more still and see if he'd come straighter, and he was obviously straightened it up and kept it over the stumps, and I was able to get onto it.
Hey,
and Maxie, did you watch much of the Test series? And any thoughts on it?
Oh, come on, Flem. You know I watch most of it.
You're still doing the scoring, aren't you, at home? In the scorebook.
Yeah, I was hoping a few of the guys were going to sign my scorecard as they were sort of coming off the ground. I can't wait to be that person. It was great to watch, and it's amazing. I think how much one player between two teams can have such a huge influence on the result in pretty much every test. And it was always about Bumrah. It was always about what he could potentially achieve and what he could potentially lift India to do. And when he got injured, it was just like almost the air got sucked out of the Indian side, where they knew that they were going to have to obviously do something extremely extraordinary to get back in the game. But it was an incredible, I suppose, sign of resilience from the Australians to come back after Perth and to dominate the rest of the series. Like, credit to, I suppose, Ronnie and the whole team to be able to plan their way through that.
He's not joking about the scorecards there, Flem, either, when working with Maxie on the book throughout last year. The stuff this bloke remembers from obscure games of cricket, it's as bad as I am, you know.
So how did the book come around? Have you guys talked about it exclusively for SEN cricket before?
I think we've done different interviews, Maxie, haven't we? Why don't you take it away? Why did we do the book?
Yeah, so we spoke about doing something at some stage, and there was talk of a documentary at one stage, but the timings and logistically would have been quite difficult, and how much I would have had to, I suppose, give of my own time while I was still trying to, I suppose, play at the top level I thought was going to be pretty hard. And then once the book idea sort of started, it was more, we were thinking about an autobiography and sort of thinking about doing it that way. And then obviously when I broke my leg and everything that happened over that year, and once the World Cup had finished, we sort of came together, and it's like, hold on a second, there's our story. And as I said, we didn't want to make it a full autobiography, but we wanted to reference times that were influential, I suppose, over the year, that were, I suppose, reflective of my journey. And Adam did an amazing job in basically setting me up and being able to, I suppose, recollect certain stories and times that had a huge influence on things that happened during that year.
Yeah, and the way we described it, Flem, was like the X-axis was the 12 months between him nearly losing his foot in that horrific accident in 2022. And there was a text in before asking how he nearly lost his foot in that incident. Well, it's worth reading The Showman in all good bookshops and all the rest of it. And then the 201 not out at Mumbai and winning the 50-over World Cup, and using that as one axis, if you like, and the Y-axis the rest of his life, and trying to like find ways to integrate what had been going on for the last 20 years of his life into a 12-month span. We got there in the end. It was hard yakka, but it was absolutely worth it. And it meant that you were able to, Glenn, tell stories about yourself and tell stories about your experiences that are not the types that come up in your ordinary interviews or press conferences and stuff like that. And hopefully will last the test of time as people read it when they want to have a career in professional cricket.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think the way that we've written this book together is we were desperate to sort of try and make it come across as authentic and organic as possible and make it feel like I'm sitting across from the person reading it at the pub and just being able to sort of talk through stories. And as you do, and when you have pub chat, you go off in different tangents, and then you come back to the original point, and that's how it really comes across. And it was an incredibly hard and long process. Obviously, a lot harder for Adam, having to sort of do a lot of editing and I suppose sifting through a lot of video calls and chats. And but between him and Jeff, they did an incredible job. And to be fair, Vinny as well, my wife, she did it. She did an absolute power of work as well. She was an absolute star.
Hey, Maxie, Beau Webster in the test side, your Stars teammate. What did you make of his arrival? And I suppose the idea of being a senior pro and rocking up and just being ready to take the next step, and your observations on making that transition from the Shield to the test team and doing so well.
Yeah, I think that the fact that he's 31, he's been doing it for a couple of years. He's extremely experienced in first-class cricket in Australia. And to get his opportunity when things are going really well at home, it just you sort of just had a feeling it was going to go well. You knew that he looked comfortable almost straight away. He knows his role so well. He knows his game so well, and he was able to, I suppose, transition to an exact point in the Australian team, which he's used to, and it's that sort of, I suppose, timing, which is sometimes so fortunate for some cricketers and unfortunate for others. But it just felt like all the pieces of the puzzle for Beau for this time just fitted in perfectly. And obviously it was a tough call to get rid of Mitch Marsh for the last test, but credit to the selectors for bringing someone in who was, I suppose, ready-made in his ideal position in the team and able to go out there, and there was no surprises almost for him. Obviously Bumrah is a superstar, but the way that he went out there and just played his game, attacked the game the way he knows how.
And at the other end of the spectrum, in his 11th first-class match, or 12th, Sam Konstas, who has got wow factor, and you've had wow factor throughout your career. What are your reflections on his first two test matches?
Well, certainly exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I had a fair few chats with Ben Duckett actually about this, because obviously Ben Duckett, part of the new age baseball era, where he talks about lapping and the way he sort of tries to manipulate the field. And by the second test, they had to start with a third man. That all of a sudden takes out one of the catches. And it's amazing that how someone in their second test has almost changed the game that quickly, and changed the opposition's plans that fast. To have a third man the first over a test match is pretty extraordinary. And it was great to watch, and I absolutely loved seeing the youthful, I suppose, air of confidence, where it was just like he doesn't know any better. It's just him going out. He was playing junior cricket a year or so ago, and now it's just like this is all so new to him. He's just enjoying every moment. And I just thought it was so refreshing to watch, and I absolutely loved every part of it.
If only selectors have seen fit to pick an enterprising, creative disruptor to bat in the Australian middle order at some point about 10 years ago. Anyway, we won't dwell on that, Maxie.
No comment.
Yeah, I know. Well, I suppose there's two parts to this, right? One is that if Konstas goes to Sri Lanka, whether he'll need to evolve quite quickly, because, it's one thing to do it at the MCG when Bumrah's going to land it in the shoebox. A different thing when the ball's turning square in a snake pit, right?
I don't think you can draw comparisons to how to play first-class cricket here in Australia compared to Sri Lanka. The conditions that they're going to face the Australian team in Gaul are going to be so foreign to, I suppose, what everyone plays here in Australia. And it also makes it hard to judge players of spin in Australia compared to over there, because it's just chalk and cheese. The balls are exploding every second or third delivery, and you've got to come up with a defence and attack plan to probably hit their best balls and survive almost the drag down sometimes. It's that sort of pitch.
Is it realistic to think that you might be in that squad in a couple of days, Glenn? We know you've been very open about your desire to wear the baggy green again. You were in the test squad in Sri Lanka the last time they went. You've shown the ability to play remarkable shots against the very best spinners on the planet. Do you think you're a chance?
Well, it's hard to know, really. I think with the way the guys obviously played in this Test series, you're unsure which way they're going to go, and I'd love to say with 100% confidence that I'll definitely be on the plane, but I'm not sure, and I'll just keep doing everything I possibly can to be ready, and keep working on trying to get my bowling workloads to as high as they need to be, and making sure that I'm fit and healthy and available for selection if called upon. But it'd be pretty amazing to be a part of that squad. But in the same breath, I have no idea which way they're going to go.
That's time we let you go, I reckon, Maxie. We said we'd keep you for 10 minutes. We've had you for 15. Hey, what I should say on the way out the door is your Sydney book launch for The Showman is tomorrow night. The Comedy Store in Sydney, right near the SCG. So it would have been night 5 of the Test. That would have worked quite nicely. But we'll be on stage with Geoff Lemon and your old mate Simon Kadich.
Yeah, how exciting. We obviously had a great night in Melbourne with Ricky Ponting, and to have Caddo there, another guy who had such an influential part to play in my career and my development. So looking forward to telling a few stories with Cat up there, and I'm sure it's going to be a great night.
There are tickets.
Three of the hairiest Australian cricketers of all time.
That did come up.
There's definitely
you,
a
Maxie.
market that we've been going for here, isn't it? There's a clear market.
Good luck, mate, with the Melbourne Stars, and good luck with the Australian selection towards Sri Lanka as well.
Thanks very much, guys. Have a good one.